Okay, here basically is a method for achieving good quality time-lapse sequences at a fairly reasonable cost. Equipment includes one, a Nikon D-3100 camera. We use the standard 18 to 55 millimeter lens set at the widest 18 millimeter opening. Number two, an Aputure Aputure AP-TR3N Remote Timer Cord. And number three, your own personal computer, of course. In this case, we used a Mac desktop with iLife 11 software, including the latest version of iMovie 11, version 9.0.4. Another essential piece of equipment is a good quality, steady tripod, of course. So anyway, the first thing to do is to set up the remote timer cord for doing time-lapse. We found the Aputure instructions fairly unclear as to how to achieve this, as they never refer to the term time-lapse anywhere per se. Just a variety of timed photography options. So after some experimentation, we found it really simple using the device with the Nikon D3100. With the Aputure remote cord and the D3100, you can shoot just about in any shooting mode. We use the landscape mode for the sunrise that follows. So anyway, once you have a fairly good understanding of the instructions, follow them by connecting the timer to the D3100 and turning the camera on. Then proceed to adjust the settings for the timer. We used an initial delay time of 5 seconds in order to have enough time to set the timer on the tripod before the first photograph so as not to shake the camera. We did not set an exposure time, as the D3100 shooting mode did this for us. And for this first experimental shoot, we set the interval time at 10 seconds. And finally, we set the number of shots at 200, which at 10 seconds each would take 2,000 seconds, or about 33 minutes. And at about 20 to 24 frames per second running time would be about 10 seconds of actual movie. Of course, the most important thing in all this is to find a really nice spot to photograph, and this was a spot that we liked on a lake near where we live, and you never can tell about sunrises, so we thought we'd try it as a first time experiment. So we picked out the spot and set the camera on a tripod, kind of set up and frame the shot before starting the remote timer cord. Here you can see the actual timer cord supported on the tripod. This was the first view that we had, and then we moved the camera down for a second sequence closer to the water. And of course there was a lot going on, fish jumping and bugs in the water and boats going by and all, so it really wasn't an ideal sequence for time-lapse, but we thought we'd experiment anyway. Okay, as you can tell, the sequence wasn't really too dramatic this morning, and you can't ever tell what the sun's going to do and what the clouds are going to do, so later on in the day when we had some very dramatic clouds in the sky, we went ahead and shot another sequence. And this was shot at 1 frame every 5 seconds, so it was half as many photographs as the previous sequences, but you can see in the following sequence it's a little more dramatic, mainly because of the sky and just the contrasts. The next sequence was shot in Destin, Florida, on the bay during sunrise, and a storm event was coming in. Approximately 300 photographs were taken and then projected in about an 18-second time-lapse sequence. Of course, the final thing to do is to get all these photographs that you've taken with the remote timer cord on the D3100 into your computer and into a movie format. And that'll depend, of course, on your computer and on the software you use. As I said before, we use a Mac, and we have the iLife 2011 software. So first thing we had to do is to import all the photographs into iPhoto. Unfortunately, the Aputure doesn't allow you to import photographs directly into the video mode on the D3100, because it would sure simplify making a movie, but you have to go into the iPhoto software, and then from there drag everything into the iMovie in the sequence that you want to put it in, and edit the timing of all the photographs so that you get the movie sequence to work the way it does. And that, as I said before, it'll depend on your computer and your software. So that's kind of a wrap up of the use of the D3100 with the Aputure Remote Timer Cord.